Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Ashton Blake, lead vocalist for Native Sons, to the program today. How you doing, Ashton?
I'm doing all right, just hanging out.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day up here in Vermont where I am. How about you're down in Louisville, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. It's kind of cloudy out today. We had some rain yesterday, but not been too bad of a day,
Yeah, excellent. Album Natives Are Restless came out March 12th on High Vol Music. I got to tell you, Ashton, I heard a copy of this. Bill gave me a download, and I listened to it as I was driving home from my daughter's gymnastics class the other night. What a great driving album this is.
Thank you.
Put it on and hit the road and go.
I appreciate that.
Now, this project was originally recorded with different players. Part of like under the New Machine banner, was it?
Yeah, it was Rich Green and A.D. Zimmer, Steve Swordface, Bo Davis, Lorenzo Del Vecchio. They were all the original members that were on the album and the recording that you're hearing now. Pretty much what happened is we did a few shows under New Machine, 80s in the Park. We opened for Jefferson Starship. But then I guess the band, some people had some health issues, so we wanted to give them time. And then the band, it kind of just shelved everything. And then, we tried to pick it back up, right before COVID hit, because, people got better and, we thought we were going to be able to do it again. And then the shutdown happened. And then, all those members had to go back to work or, do other things. I think Rich Green went on to form another band, but it was, I stuck with it and they all gave me their blessing to keep going with it. I was talking to Bill Chavis and I really think that these songs had potential to do something. I was pretty much just like, I was just wanting them to get it out. I didn't know what would come of the songs. I just knew that I wanted to give them a chance. So all the original members agreed, for me to take it and continue. And we've credited all of them in the package here.
Yeah. So on the recordings that we're hearing now, like, did you have a hand in like was it sort of a collaborative effort with those members that were there? Or did you do all the lyrics and somebody else did the music? How did that part of it work?
Steve Swordface had a lot of the music. He had riffs, and New Machine had a different singer at the time. When I jumped into the band, they were recording and they were like, the singer was good, but he just wasn't what they were looking for. They didn't have any lyrics to anything. So they sent me like just music tracks. And it was kind of funny. Master of My Fate. The reason why I named that one Master of My Fate is because they sent me a wave file. This was called Master, and I thought that was the name of the song, so I ran with that. But so pretty much what it was is I flew down to Florida. That's where we recorded this in the studio, Sonic Studios. Bo Davis, who did all the B3 work, also recorded everything. Yeah. He was co-producer with Steve Swordface, who also produced the album. So basically I came down, I wrote all the lyrics. I think Steve helped me write on some stuff like Silver Lining. Me and Steve collaborated a little bit on, because that song was the only song they had lyrics to. And I was just like, I want to rewrite all those lyrics, so we got Silver Lining. So pretty much, they had the music and I just came in with the lyrics and melody, and I wrote songs. I know that Monster, I wrote myself. I've had that since I was probably about 15. And then One Another, we needed a 10th song on the album. So I sat outside and I just wrote that song.
Cool. How did it evolve from New Machine to Native Sons? How did that name and like the album title and the cover art and stuff come together?
Well, Bill Chavis is very hands-on with all of his, his acts. He tries not to take on too many, so that he can be more hands-on, sure. Which I appreciate. I've worked with him since I was 19, but he thought of the name you know, we were going to go under New Machine. And then he was like, well, you know, we're kind of starting a new band. You know, since none of the original members were going to be performing the songs live, he was like, let's just start another band. You know, it's the same songs, same recordings, but, you know, if we're going to move forward, you know, we knew we were going to change the name to begin with, because New Machine had been shelved, and he came up with the name Native Sons. I liked it. Yeah. He's you know, technically a Native American run business. I think he got his certificate for that, because I think you have to be 50% Native American or something like that. My stepdad is part Native American. His great grandmother was full-blooded. So it was really something that was like spoke to me, I guess. But Native Sons could be applied to any, I guess, like Vikings or anything, really. But we just went with the Native American roots, because I think it speaks to, you know, America's history. Yeah. You know, in different people's lineages.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, did you say it was the producer that laid down all the Hammond stuff on this?
Yeah, he actually was the one that was like, let's just see if we can add some B3 stuff on this. You know, they were contemplating doing a keyboard, but the Hammond B3 just has a different sound. Yeah. To it all together. You know, it's not exactly an organ, I guess, but it was really cool to get to see one in the studio and see him play it. Bo's a very talented person.
That really jumped out at me as I was listening to this album. I mean, the guitars, the drums, the bass, and everything's great. And your vocal work, I thought, was stellar. But once that Hammond kicks in, to me, it just gives it like a classic rock feel, you know, that sound, a classic rock sound. You know, that really jumped out at me. I loved it.
Thanks.
So let's talk about a few of the tunes on here. I'm going to have to go carefully. I realized afterwards on my download, I was writing them down as they were going in sequence on my download, but they were out of sequence. So I'm going to try and not jump around here a whole lot. Track 1, Silver Lining, correct?
Yep.
That was an amazing song. Your vocal on that, I got a real Shinedown feel on your vocal. I thought you sounded a lot like Brent on that tune, and not a knock. Love Shinedown. But I thought, you know, man, you really channeled the sort of energy that I've always felt when I listened to his vocals. Was he ever any type of influence on you?
No, actually, I never really got into like the early 90s and early 2000s rock. Yeah. You know, my influences are very 70s based, you know, classic rock, but I appreciate the compliment. You know, they're not a bad band. Yeah. You know, I just, Shinedown, I guess, I've heard that one before, probably. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, man, this kind of sounds like Shinedown. So you're not the first person to say that. You know?
Yeah. There's a power in both of your voices that's there, you know, and when you hear it, you just, you know, it's like, man, you know, these guys are laying it out there, you know. So,
well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Had Enough of Me. I like that one too. I thought it was kind of funky, kind of a funky kind of tune. Really liked that one. And then track 3, Here and Now. As I was listening to the lyric and everything with the message and everything, I could just see that being like a real killer show opener.
You know? Yeah. I think that was, you know, whenever I was writing that one, it was kind of that's what we were going for, is like, you know, I think the guitar player was helping me write on some things. He was like, I guess it's just really about people being in the moment. You know, it's like, you know, put away your phones, listen to the music. You know, you can look at pictures. We have people taking pictures and video, you know, you're not going to get a good video of us with your phone out, you know, it's going to be blaring. But, you know, it's an interesting, it is kind of funky.
Yeah. Yeah. And one you mentioned, Master of My Fate, that's a heavy tune. You know, that was my note row here, heavy. Can you tell me a little bit about that? How one came together? I mean, you talked about how you got the WAV file and then you kind of put everything together, you know, the lyric and stuff on it.
Well, Master of My Fate is, you know, it's, to me, it was about, you know, me saying I'm going to choose the road that I want to go on. You know, I had so many people tell me, you know, throughout my life, you know, it's like, you need to be this, you need to do this, you need to have, you know, it's always good to have backup plans, but, you know, right out of high school, they forced me to apply for a college, and that was a requirement to graduate. I had to apply for a college.
Really?
So it's really, yeah, it's something about their, you know, like they want to drive up numbers to, like, so many people right out of high school go to college, and that's not always the best choice for people. You know, I'm not saying college is a bad choice, because there's a lot of good reasons to go to college, but you know, I was wanting to pursue this, and this is what I do full time. So really, Master of My Fate, you know, once I seen the wave file that it said Master, it kind of like got me thinking, you know, like, and then eventually I came up with Master of My Fate.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you ever end up going to college, or you pursued the music?
No, I've just been, you know, pursuing music right out of high school. I went to Detroit and hung out with some guys up there. One guy's named Mike Hatfield. He was a big influence on me. I was probably about 19, and I met Rich Green at a place called Planet Rock in Lansing, Michigan or something. You know, I kind of just toured around, and I jumped in his band, Modern Superstar, I think when I was 20, and I just been touring and pushing ever since.
Yeah. And that's an education in itself, you know?
Yeah.
But I hear what you say about college. I mean, I didn't go. I almost went. I could have gone. I was accepted and everything, and I was going to go for mechanical drafting. And then I just sat there and I'm like, I just can't see myself sitting behind a drafting table. I liked it in high school, but I couldn't see myself doing it full time. I totally get it. You know, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
One Another, you mentioned this is one you wrote. This is my favorite track on the album, and I had that note written before you said, you know, you had wrote it. Love the acoustic and the Hammond blend on that one. And I love that tune. Can you tell me a little bit about that one?
Like I said, we needed a 10th song on the album, and I told him I was originally like a folk artist. I was starting to be like this folky. I wrote a lot of folk Southern rock tunes, which I like all kinds of music, which is the reason why, you know, this music spoke to me just as much as, you know, my folk stuff did.
Yeah.
So basically One Another is, you know, about a one night stand, I guess, you know, and you just like, you meet that person. And sometimes and it happens often that you end up in a relationship with that person. And it's really just about finding that one person, having a one night stand with them, I guess, and just wanting to continue for as long as you can, I guess. You know, it was a love song, I guess. It wasn't really geared towards anybody. It was just, a cool topic. I think, you know, it's making a love song out of a one night stand. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. You got me smiling here because I'm thinking of a couple of one night stands, you know, and you look back in hindsight and it's like, man, you know, maybe I should have pursued a little more. And then you wonder about the whole fate and destination thing and all that. And you got me smiling on that one, Ashton. I like that. Peacemaker, I thought your delivery on this was fantastic. I'll ask, and I think you're going to say yeah, but I'll ask the question anyway. Recording different songs, do you have to sort of like put yourself in a different headspace to do them, or do you just approach them sort of all the same?
Yeah, I would say you definitely have. It's a character, you know. You're putting on a character, and it's not like it's you, but it's like different versions of yourself. So like on Master of My Fate, I tried to, you know, I started out, it sounded a lot like typo negative stuff. I tried to channel the Loving You is like Loving the Dead song, but then it just kind of morphed. I kept working with it, and you put on like for Peacemaker, that song, you know, the guitar player Lorenzo came up to me and said, man, I want to make a song about the Beatitudes of Jesus Christ. So I ended up having, you know, it was interesting because I had different lyrics for it. And then at the last minute, I just threw them all out and was like, nah, we can't do it that way. So I wanted to kind of apply it into a more modern sense, I guess. So like if Jesus was you know, if all of that would have happened now, you know, what would he be talking about and be saying to his followers, I guess. So it's not so much a religious tune, I guess, but it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not super religious myself, but I thought that was an interesting topic. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Nice theme. The Key, just a kick-ass closer. Really like that. Did you have a hand at all when it came to sequencing the album? Were you guys looking for a certain, you know, running order, or did you just kind of throw it all together?
I think we all gave our opinions, I guess, but I think all of them came down to the last one would be The Key, because you know, we wanted The Key to be the single. And that was a unanimous decision, even with the original members. So yeah, I mean, Bill Chavis ended up having the last say on everything, I guess. Yep. You know, this is basically the way we wanted it anyway. Because the order of songs, I think that this was perfect. I wouldn't have done it any different, probably. Yeah. I mean, there was one or two that might have been switched around, but yeah, I like the way that that the order of songs ended up being.
Yeah, great flow. Now you got some live dates coming up, but let's talk about the band now, because you've obviously put together you know, a different band from what's on the album. Did I read correctly? You got a father and son on bass and drums? Yes.
Kevin Seven and Adam Amici are the bassist is his dad. So yeah, they're I think the guitar player and the drummer have been playing together since they were probably like 13, 14. And the bass player, you know, we brought him on whenever we were trying to get original members back. And I think AD just couldn't do it. Yeah. And then he was the one that kind of just stuck around and was like, man, we'll find people, you know. And he ended up finding, he found out that Adam was available to play drums and Diego might be interested. So they listened to the tunes and it kind of all just fell into place.
So that must be one tight outfit then, with, you know, you got the father-son dynamic, and then, you know, Diego, who's played with him before. That's got to be a tight live band.
It's definitely nice working with people that are professional, and not that the original members weren't, because they were. Sure. But yeah. to find something like that again for a second time, it was really nice.
Yeah, very cool. The dates you got, I think I got April 23rd. You're playing in Louisville with Asphalt Valentine. And then in May, you're going to Maryland and Ohio. So got to be cool. How are like the crowd restrictions down there? Still like 25%, 50%, or anything opened up more?
You know, the crowd restrictions down here, you know, I was working all through the pandemic, you know, as far as music goes. Some places shut down, some of them you know, they wanted to wait it out and see if things got better. I mean, it was at 25 capacity, and then now we're at, I think, 55. Okay. So they can have about a little over half. Yeah. And it extended to 1 a.m. now. Nice. We have dates in 21st in Germantown. We actually added another date, April 24th. We're supposed to be in Cincinnati with South of Eden.
Very cool.
Yeah. But the restrictions down here, they're kind of loosening up. You know, I think the you know, legislators down here, they are lifting the mask mandate, I think, in the next month or two, right after Indiana.
Nice.
So I think it's just they're kind of waiting to see what everybody's doing. I know Texas is open and some other places like that.
Yeah.
You know, it seems to be fine. I'm not an expert though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're watching, everything seems to be going okay right now. And even at 55%, that's a heck of a lot more than what we had a year ago, you know, when
Oh,
it
yeah.
was zero, you know? So
Yeah.
it's got to be cool. So when you guys play like this gig on the 23rd in Louisville, will this be the first time that this incarnation of the band is played live?
No, we played live March 12th and 13th here in Louisville, kind of do a CD release party.
Okay.
You know, we played Street Grubs and Hops down here in a place called the Hitching Post, a little biker venue.
Cool.
You know, this will probably be our third show together. So it's really come together fast.
Cool. How did that one go for the release party? You know, being a relatively new band.
We ended up selling out the room at 55% capacity. I think the venue could hold about 250. Yeah. So we ended up having 125 people, I guess. Yeah. We had to turn people away, you know.
Wow.
Because of COVID restrictions, but they ended up showing up the next night. And that's why we booked a double header here in Kentucky, because, nice. You know, Kentucky's where I'm from. They're from Columbus. So I had a lot of people that wanted to come and support the album. And some people that I didn't know, you know, even showed up. So it's like, it was really, really cool to see all the support from the local scene and the different people that came out.
That's cool. How did like the performance go? I mean, there's like rehearsal, and then there's, you know, in practice, then there's like playing the live gig. Did it go fairly seamlessly for you?
Oh yeah. You know, these guys have played together and they're all professionals. You know, most of them have been in, you know, gigging projects and touring projects. I think the only one that hasn't is Diego, but he definitely has done his fair share of you know, local gigs in his scene. So it wasn't there wasn't any hiccups of any kind. It was really nice.
Cool. Now, Ashton, I usually pride myself on digging up, you know, some really cool stories from the artist's past and stuff, and trying to come up with like some trivia stuff. You were a bit of an enigma. I poked around and poked around and poked around. I couldn't find a whole lot on you prior to this. So I guess I just got to ask some, you know, kind of straightforward questions. You mentioned wanting to pursue this from high school. In high school, were you like in chorus? Did you take any vocal lessons? The high school cover band? Did you do any of that stuff?
You know, I was in chorus, but it's not where I learned to sing. I ended up doing this like a young adults Coca-Cola contest thing for singers, and one of the judges was our high school choir teacher, and I had just moved to town, and it was still summer, so I didn't know who these people were, and she came up to me after the contest and said, "You can sign out of it, but I've signed you up for chorus already." I was like, all right. So I ended up being in chorus, and I stayed in chorus till probably I was out of high school, just because I loved learning different songs, and you know, we learned everything from the 1500s songs to like "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel. So it was a fun time.
Cool.
Her name was Miss Hall.
Nice. No relation that I know of, but you know, because my last name is Hall. Do you remember the song you sang in that Coca-Cola contest?
I sang an original song.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, I was writing original songs back then as well.
So you've been writing and singing your own tunes then from a fairly early age.
Yeah.
Cool. That always fascinates me because I've never, you know, poetry, forget it. You know, I can write a story, but to write a song has always fascinated me. Are you one of those guys that, you know, kind of sometimes you'll hear a line, you'll see something, or something will come out of you at the Cosmos and you're writing something down on a napkin? What's your most tried and true method of songwriting?
You know, with all of these, especially with this album, I think that, if a guitar player brings me a song and says, man, I got no lyrics to this, I can, the song kind of speaks to me in ways like at first when they sent me the songs, they asked me to join the band before I even heard anything, because they knew I'd worked with most of them before. And I was like, well, send me the material and I'll see. And I guess that's where it's at for me, is like, does your song say something to me, I guess. So it really, to me, I feel like the music is saying words that most people don't hear, I guess. And it kind of just tells me what it wants to be, I guess. I don't know.
Wow. That's a gift. That's a true gift. Wow. That's awesome. Awesome stuff right there. You mentioned you were more of like a 70s, 80s guy. What vocalists inspired you or influenced you along the way?
I think for performance, it was Poison. His vocals weren't impressive, but it was like they always told a story.
Yeah.
It was always something. He always had something to say. Give me something to believe in. There's so many songs Poison had, that even though they were fun, they still said something. Yeah. So performance-wise, watching them perform, Cinderella was a big one for me. I'd say Rush, Dio, Tom Petty. I was in a Tom Petty tribute band there for a while.
Oh, that must be cool.
Yeah, so basically like ELO, my influences run pretty far. I guess Cat Stevens is an obscure one that I really like.
Yeah. You're all over the board with stuff, and that's great. I love it. I'm the same way. You mentioned the folk stuff. Were you into, like, here's the ultimate folk artist, Don McLean? Were you into any of his stuff?
Don McLean. No, I wouldn't say I would know any of his songs.
Well, you know American Pie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess I'm a fan of Don McLean. It's I haven't dived too much into him, I guess.
Yeah. But some of those artists you mentioned, yeah, definitely. And I saw them all, back in the day with Cinderella and Poison and Ronnie James Dio was just fantastic. Just a fantastic show. One I'll never forget. Amazing. The Petty tribute band, what was your favorite Tom Petty song to do?
Oh man, he had so many great songs. I really think that it was just getting to play the songs and seeing, that I could bring joy to people, through his music. I say Don't Do Me Like That is a good one. Yeah. I like that one. You're So Bad is a good one. Yeah. There's just so many. Love Is a Long Road.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I was a fan of the one that gets me tapping my toe every time is Listen to Her Heart.
Yeah.
Really cool too.
Listen to her heart. Yeah.
So going forward now, you've got a few gigs planned. If you could do like a dream tour and hook up with somebody and do like a cross country tour, who would be a band or two that you'd like to hook up with Native Sons and go out and play with them?
Huh. I'm not really certain. There's so many bands out there. I'm not really sure who's touring, but if I could get, if we're talking hypothetical, and
hypothetical, your dream tour.
My dream tour. If Rush was still around, I wouldn't turn down that. But Native Sons, I would really kind of want it to, kind of match what they do. I guess Kiss would be a cool one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Definitely.
That's a tough question there. Yeah. There's so many great bands that I would like to, team up with.
Cool. Music scene down there in Louisville, is it one of sort of cutthroat, every man for himself, or do you guys all kind of get along and everybody helps each other out?
I think about, if you asked me in 2019 what the music scene was like here in Louisville, I would have told you it's very cutthroat, that even your friends are your enemies. But what I've seen is those kinds of people have been pushed out in the last year. I don't know if it was because of COVID or what, but I think that, you know, I've always tried to help people, and I always tried to surround myself with people. You know, I have friends here in town that wanted to get out and play gigs, so I helped them. You know, I got them the gigs that they wanted, and so I would say now it's more becoming a brotherhood than it is like it used to be. In the 90s, it was very much a brotherhood. You know, you had the Toy Tiger and you had Phoenix Hill Tavern, and all the bands were kind of sharing shows and promoting and showing up to each other's you know, shows. And I would say at the CD release party, we had probably about 6 bands that showed up just to see us. And, you know, they hung out and they bought merch, and they, you know, they actually listened to the CD. So it's like, we're having a big wave of, you know, a brotherhood here in Louisville, I would say.
Very cool. Talking with Ashton Blake, lead vocalist for Native Sons. Their album Natives Are Restless out now on High Vol Music. I'd imagine get it through the High Vol website. Do you guys have like a link on your Facebook page or anything that takes it to any place, or is High Vol the best place?
High Vol Music right now is probably the best place. It's dropping everywhere tomorrow, I think. Okay. So you can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Google, you know, so it's going to be everywhere awesome. Starting tomorrow.
Awesome. Time for some fun, silly questions. I'm hoping these are questions you've never even been asked before. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Favorite toy growing up as a child?
Favorite toy? I'd have to say Star Wars toys.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a lot of Star Wars action figures, you know, playing Army Men and whatnot.
Absolutely. First car you bought with your own money?
It was a Ford Taurus.
Really?
For $150. It was in 1993, same year I was born.
Very cool. Let's see. Let me jump around here. If you could pick a television show to have a Native Sons song placed in, what television show would you pick?
Past or present?
Either.
Well, I really liked, you know, not that this would probably fit into this movie, but it's Black Sails was a favorite show of mine.
Yeah.
It's an HBO thing.
Yep.
I guess if you're going with sitcom, Friends would always have been a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Frasier.
Yeah, there you go. Black Sails. Yeah, I watched that one a couple summers ago. That was a fantastic series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool stuff. Is there something outside of music you're good at? Like, are you a good carpenter or a good plumber, or, you know, do you know, like a landscape or anything?
I did about a year of schooling for landscaping in high school. So I can do that. I can make things grow probably, you know, as far as plants and flowers and, you know, cutting grass. That's kind of easy. But what people, I think, you know, really take for granted is how to cut a rose. You know, you know, the California Rose Association, they want you to cut it at a 45-degree angle, and you have to do it like in a diamond if you're working with a bush. I actually was working on a site one time, and this team lead I had, he wanted to argue with me, I guess, and I wasn't really arguing with him. I was just telling him. He asked me, "How do you cut a rose?" I told him. He said, "No, you don't." And he, you know, it was really strange that the boss ended up coming up to me, and he hired me to cut this really picky woman's rose bush. She had this like arch way that she had of roses. So it was kind of funny to see the look on that guy's face.
Yeah. Put him in his place, you know?
Yeah.
If you could blink and appear anywhere in the world, where would you like to go to?
Oh, man. So many places. I would have to say the Caribbean.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I like pirate history.
There you go.
Be cool to.
Favorite old school wrestler?
Old school wrestler.
Yeah.
Well, I could probably pick a lot of from the guys from the 90s, but Glow, I would have to say there was I can't remember if her name was Mother Russia or something. She was the Russian girl. She always had a cool character.
That's cool. I'll have to check that out. Very cool. If you could go back in time and eat one of your mom's meals from your childhood, what would you have her fix?
Chicken.
All right. Last one. This is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a movie of your life, what actor would you have portray you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Well, going with what everybody says I look like, Jared Leto. Okay. You'd have to have his long hair again. I'm pretty sure he'd cut it, but yeah. I don't know. It's my favorite actors. There's not a lot of young actors that are real good, I guess. I'm kind of an old school guy. Like Robin Williams was a great actor, but I guess Jared Leto would probably be the best for the role.
I could see that. Yeah, definitely. Very cool. Ashton, is there anything that you didn't get to talk about or a question I didn't ask that you're thinking, man, I would have liked to have mentioned this, or I wish you would have asked that in this interview that you would like to take a moment and address?
I guess, a lot of people ask us about, are we doing a music video? Where can we find all the stuff? I would just like to tell them, we're working on stuff, and tell them, feel free to, comment on the Native Sons page to what song you might want us to do a music video to. We're talking right now about maybe, Had Enough of Me or even Full Circle, but, if there's something that somebody wants to see, we'll gear ourselves towards what the fans want, because that's really what it's about. To me, it's about performing and seeing that I've made a difference in people's lives.
Very cool. Yep. Yeah. It's great with this, the social media can be such a double-edged sword, but it's really great when you can use it for positive like that and interact and stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very hands-on with the Facebook, and I try to get to everybody as much as I can.
Very cool. Well, Ashton, I wish you and the band much luck and success for the future. You've got a great album, a great sound here, and hopefully it just keeps steamrolling for you. And as things get better, you guys can get out and play and perform, because that's what it's all about, correct?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I appreciate you, Lance.
Thank you very much, Ashton. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too, brother.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.